Devel Morrison is a broker with Bosley Real Estate, host of Toronto This Weekend. Good morning, Devel. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Kevin. How are you? Thanks for having me on the show.
I am doing well. Am I wrong? We've been watching the national home sales dropping 9.8% seasonally adjusted. That's what we reported earlier on. I think it was last week, February from January. New listings fell 12.7% in the same period. What is going on?
Yeah, the market is definitely having some problems. There are, I think, with the tariff talk, there's a lot of people who've put their plans on hold, on pause. I've certainly seen that with a couple of the buyers that I'm working with. And I have a couple of listings in various parts of the city, and I can also see that, things are slow in terms of getting showings. Now, in the condo market, it's been like this. It's no change in the condo market. It's just been bad for the last 2 years. And it just continues to be bad, unfortunately, with the condo market, since so many investors have pulled out. But the market's not doing great. That being said, I do have, a couple of coworkers. They happen to have listings in the east end of the city, so Leslieville, Riverdale, that area. And that area still seems to be doing a lot of business. So one of my colleagues listed a property last week, and he had over 80 showings on it. So there is still some interest in certain parts of the city and certain segments of the market, but it's clearly not across the board.
I think there's more at play here, though. I mean, it's very easy to say it's because of tariffs, it's because of uncertainty at the times. But this was actually a big news story for 2025 back in 2020, when we had many mortgages taken out, and we were warned, hey, interest rates right now, 1.5%. Take out a $400,000 mortgage. No problem. However, all the media was saying, wait till 2025 and all these mortgages en masse come up for renewal. And indeed, we have the majority of mortgages coming up for renewal because you would have been silly not to renegotiate in 2020. But it's going to cost you an extra, say on $400,000 mortgage, an extra $800 with your monthly payment. How much is this mortgage?
That doesn't affect all people. So keep in mind that across the country, you've got 40% of all Canadians don't even have a mortgage. They've paid it off. So now you're talking about... How
many? Say it again, please.
40%.
Wow.
So 40% of Canadians don't have a mortgage. So, think about, we've got a lot of boomers. We've got a lot of people over the age of 70 who they paid off their mortgage. They're done, right? They bought their house ages ago. It certainly wasn't over $1 million. They just don't have a mortgage anymore. So now you're talking about 60% of the market that's left that actually does have a mortgage. And of those 60%, 20% of those people had a mortgage renewal this year, myself included. I'm one of those people. And of those 20% who are renewing their mortgage, I think it's the figure something like 40% of those people actually, their payments are actually going to go down. So only 60% of the 20% of the people who are renewing their mortgages this year will have their mortgage payments increase. And so for some of those people, if they get creative with extending their amortization, then they will not see a huge effect. And it depends. I mean, someone who bought a house in 2020, yes, okay, they are going to feel a huge effect. But not everybody bought their house in 2020. A lot of people certainly bought their houses previously to that. So they have some principal paid off. So there is some wiggle room there for them to extend their amortization rather.
So I guess the bottom line and what everybody's waiting for an answer to is, Devel, do I buy? Do I sell? What should I do?
Well, it always depends on your life cycle and what you need to do that makes sense for your life. I mean, there's no clear-cut answer to that. I would say that if you're looking to buy a condo, now's a really good time to get a deal. Absolutely, because people are screaming just to even get people to show their condos, let alone buy their condos, right? So, for a lot of people out there who are needing to find a place for their kids to live and are fortunate enough to be able to buy a place for their kids to live at some point, this would be the time to get into the condo market. But, it's not like the market's into free fall. I think that's the thing to remember. The market's not in free fall, and a lot of sellers, they don't need to sell. I've got a couple of listings right now, and people are not giving their houses away. They just won't sell it. They'll just take it off the market if they don't get the price that they want for it.
All right, Devel, thank you so much. And we should mention, Devel, Toronto this weekend. I'm actually going to be on the air with you.
You are. I'm interviewing you tomorrow morning.
I'm looking for, what time did we finally settle on? I think it was...
Oh, I don't remember.
I can't remember either. But looking forward to chatting with you, and thank you for this. I appreciate it.
Perfect. Thanks so much.